What's up, everybody? This is Spencer Michaels here at ACT Lighting LA in beautiful sunny California. I'm joined today with my one and only coworker, Will Maffei.
Hey everybody, I'm not the only coworker, but that's cool.
He is not the one and only, but he is the one and only Will Murphy.
That's true, that's true.
Today is a much anticipated webinar about multi-instance fixture profiles, how to build them, how they work. Let's talk about it. So I'm going to share my screen here and get rid of my face. And here we go. So I'm going to be using the K10 BI as an example. It is able to have multiple instances, so you have control of each individual LED. Let's cruise on over to on PC. I'm going to go to Setup, Patch and Fixture Schedule, Fixture Types. Here's my BI. I've cleaned out the instances so that we can start fresh. So I'm going to go ahead and edit that fixture profile. And the way we start with multi-instance fixtures is by creating a second module. So right now we have a single module. In the module manager, we have the main module. It has all of these attributes, you know, the control over all RGB LEDs and whites, color, temperature, shutter, pan, tilt, dimmer, etc. We need to create a second module for the LED specifically. So that's in Module Manager. Right-click in the new field to create a new module, or click in the gray field and tap the Add button. Okay, we only need one for this. I'm going to label it LED for my own sanity. And we can change the beam angle, the beam intensity, yada, yada, yada class. Now here's the cool thing is you can have different models per module. So a 3D model per module. So I could actually have a customized ELEDA BI LED and have a custom ELEDA moving head. So you can have the control of both of those. And then you also have the ability to change the size here, so we'll just make this a nice little old LED. There we go. Okay, so that's step one, create the second module. Go ahead and escape out of here, and you'll notice that you'll have these two new arrows. Arrow to the left, double arrow to the right. This is how you switch between different modules. Now, when I first started building fixture profiles, it took me ages to find out how to switch between modules, and it's because I didn't know that these arrows existed. Once one of my coworkers pointed out, I was like, oh my goodness, there it is. So easy, so simple. So it's just like the first module, we have to add attributes. So we're going to add the same number of lines as we have attributes, which is, whoops, not that, RGB. We're going to be doing this in the RGB mode. So that's three attributes. You notice I added a fourth here. This is going to be our virtual dimmer, so that this instance can be controlled by the main module's dimmer. So like you do, select your attribute and assign R, a J, and a B, and then we'll have this be dimmer. Great. The course number is going to start at 1. Going to work its way to 2 and then 3. Now you might be like, well, what the heck, Spencer? If you look at your DMX channel chart, you notice that these start at 1, 2, 3 and work their way to 57, whereas the standard channel is going to also start at 1. This is where the cool magic happens in your instance manager. So that's down here. So we've created the second module, we've assigned the attributes, we've given them course numbers. I'm going to go ahead and quickly give them default and highlight values. And now we are going to go into the instance manager. Okay, here we see our main module, module 1, that has the pan, tilt, dimmer, shutter, zoom, etc. Now we need to add the same number of LEDs in our fixture. So it looks like the K10 has 19 individually controlled LED. So I'm going to add 19 lines down here with a total of 20. So I have my main module and then my 19 LEDs. Okay, with that, I'm going to select everybody and assign them to my second module. Now I clicked and dragged so I get the blue rubber band around everybody. Right click or click in on your screen encoder if you're on a console. You'll get your select DMX module pop up. And now we select our second module, which is that LED module. Okay? The patch. So here's where that cool magic happens I was talking about. The first module starts at channel 1. Look at my DMX channel chart. Where is it? There it is. And we see that channel mode starts at 1 and works its way to 21. With the LED, the K10, the LEDs, the individually controlled LEDs, start at channel 22. Okay? So that means this patch right here is 22. Now let me go back to here, and you'll notice I have course 1, 2, 3. This is saying that this first module is starting at 1 and it's working its way to 21. The second module, the LED, is starting at 22, which means this red cell is going to DMX address 22, 23, 24. Okay, my next one, 22 plus 3 is 25, so on and so forth. So you create this patch down here to continue to assign your LEDs. I did find a cool workaround to do this quickly, and that is you select all of them, and you say the starting number, which is 20, no, wait, wow. Should have written this down somewhere. It's like the total number of channels minus the number in the module, and then that assigns it, and then you do through. But for this instance, because I don't remember off the top of my head, I'm going to fill these in real quick. So 28, 31. Good thing I did high school and graduated with math in mind. 37, 40, 43, 46, 49, 52, 55, 58, 61, 63, no, 64.
This is where that 9 keypad can come in handy.
But I feel like I'm off because this is saying that the last LED is at 55.
Oh, the DMX chart tells you. So your through shortcut is 22 through 55. Well, you lassoed all of them?
This is also starting at 1.
Yeah, but you're starting, if you do 22 to 55, it'll fill them in.
But there's an offset of 3 because of the LEDs.
Yeah, it does it for you. Not from the very top.
Does it? 22? No, this is from the second last one through
55. Oh, that did not. Did that work? No.
Yeah. Well, no.
Are you reading? Are you building a K? Oh.
10. 19 LEDs. Anyways, you assign you assign the patch here, and now you have control of those.
Our colleague Ryan says it's 22 through 79.
79.
There's something wrong with the DMX chart you're looking at. This is why we work together.
Yay, teamwork. Okay, so you'll see that it has that 3-channel gap, which means it worked. You'll also notice this X, Y, Z and locked column. This allows you, the user, to place these different modules in 3D. So you could create a grid using X, Y, Z. You could create, I mean, if you have a lot of time on your hands, you could create that BI arrangement using these 3 columns. This is for 3D placement. Locked means that these separate modules are going to follow the main module when you move it in 3D. If you unlock these modules, that means they have independent control to be moved in 3D. So I could take this particular LED and move it in 3D space and not have it move with the rest of the module. So I recommend leaving everybody locked and together. And there you have it. You have now created a multi-instance fixture profile with some gaps in it. So I know there is a cool way to do the through patching. It really depends on your fixture profile and, I guess I should patch it, huh? And the patch of those individual cells. And now you have fixtures 2.1 through 2.20. Okay, so what that means is the 2.1, that's your main module, right? You got your dimmer, position, color, beam. Now if I were to select just 2.2, that means my encoder can look at the attributes within that fixture. Just like any other selecting of fixtures, I'm looking at the attributes of that fixture, so dimmer and color. That's what we assign to that module. You'll notice that if I select just fixture 2 as a whole, it selects everybody. And you'll see pan, tilt, it's gone. Go away. Some attributes don't appear in the encoder. Now, why is that? It's because the encoder bar itself is looking at the last fixture in your selection order, which is 2.20. 2.20 is our second module, the LED module, which only has dimmer and RGB. Okay, so those are the values that are going to show up in your encoder bar. Now, if I wanted to see those values, I could be sneaky and select these fixtures in a backwards order. So if I did 2.20 through 2.1, please, and now you'll see that I have pan and tilt in there, my color temperature, my shutter, yada, yada, yada. So, and then I could store this as a group and always select the fixture backwards if I wanted to see those values in the encoder. But that is the reason why. It's because it's looking at the last fixture in the selection and the attributes within that module, quote unquote.
A lot of people, when they're building their groups, they'll just put the 0.1 at the bottom. So they'll do something like they'll do fixture 2, and then they'll say plus 2.1. And by saying plus 2.1, it adds 2.1 to the bottom, but it leaves all the individual cells in order.
The right order, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. That's multi-instance fixtures and how you build them. They're really quite simple to build. I feel like they are kind of a scary thing to go up against when you aren't used to seeing parts of a fixture like that. But there you have it. That's multi-instances.
So a couple other tidbits to add here. The instances, the decimal points, there's nothing special about those. The software is treating those as independent fixtures. It's exactly the same as you putting in the decimal point yourself. So remember, when you're working with them, treat them like you would any whole number fixture as well. So if you want to do matrix or at copy or selection order based stuff, you have to call out the decimal points and treat them as individual fixtures. Another thing is that Spencer touched upon the module manager, where you can assign a 3D model. That requires a 3D modeling expert, somebody that's not really a lighting person's job. We normally turn to people that make video games to make 3D models. They're not a typical part of our industry, but there are some companies out there that specialize in creating 3D models for MA3D, and there's a 3D section of MA Share that's actually very active with some guys that make 3D models, and they've made some really cool fixtures with more realistic looking models. Yeah, on the very bottom left, there's a 3D forum that you can go to. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for some very specific model, just post it on there. And you notice most of those forum posts, you see there's multiple posts, so people are active there.
Like this one has 27 reposts.
Yeah. I did appreciate the, Spencer was building a K10. There's something to point out that there's currently no feature available to link the LED module to the head mover. So the way that Spencer built this in MA3D, you can pan and tilt this fixture all day, but those the LEDs are not going to move with it. In version 3.3.1, right?
Yeah.
MA did some extra internal work for a range of fixtures, such as the K10 and the Araton BI. If you were to patch the K10 or the Araton BI from the internal library, you would actually see all those little instances moving around with the head mover. But that's not something that's available for the users to build. It's built by the developers. It's custom coded into the core, so it only works with the ones that are already available in the library. So keep that in mind as well. We, of course, one day wish to figure out how to make that a feature that any user in the world can do, but at the moment, only those pre-built ones from the internal library will have their instances moving with the head.
Right, and another note on that is when you do have multi-instance fixture profiles and you're trying to get them to visualize in 3D, you got to keep in mind which module has the beam intensity. What do you want to see? Like if you do have that MA custom fixture for the BI or the magic panel, they have the main module have a beam intensity of 0. And then the LEDs have the intensity so that the moving LEDs will show. But remember that that module only has dimmer and RGB. It doesn't have shutter. It doesn't have zoom. So those attributes aren't going to visualize based on this module. Something that hopefully MA will continue to develop for MA3D, but at the current time, you got to pick or choose what you want to see.
Yeah. All right, want some questions?
Hit me with some questions.
Somebody specifically asked about building scrollers in the fixture profile, and we actually covered that yesterday because a scroller is just a color wheel.
Right.
And the way that Spencer yesterday was using the wheel manager and defining the color and then assigning the slots to the color wheel attribute, that's exactly the same as building a scroller. The nice thing is, as he's showing you now, is that there's a built-in scroller, generic scroller that has no color in it.
I wonder if this sub-attribute, I think it does visualize.
Yeah.
I think it does. I think that's in the list of sub-attributes that do visualize.
Pretty sure it visualizes.
So you don't have to change this to color one sub-attribute, but you can totally import this generic profile and then make it custom to whatever scroller you have.
And if you go back to that wheel manager, I can just point out the inputting color. How that works. You get the buttons at the top where you can switch between HSB or faders or even call up a swatch book. So if you have specific colors in your color wheel, you can search for Lee or Roscoe or Gam or whatever. And on the left side, you choose it. Yeah. There you go. You got Lee 201 at that point. I think that was actually all the questions we had related to fixture profiles.
Cool. Let's open the floor to any and all questions.
Yeah. How do you copy attributes from one fixture to another fixture from the programmer?
like for a fixture profile, or?
No, just in the programmer.
Oh, at copy?
Yeah, copy function.
Sure. So let's say I got the Will Murphy fixture and it's on at full and it's doing a color. And I want the BI to do the same thing. Well, this is what we call the at copy feature. So we do destination at source. So our destination is the K10 and our source is the Will Murphy. So if I hit clear once, it's going to clear my selection. I'm going to select the K10. I'm going to say at fixture ID 1, please. And now the K10 is doing exactly what the Murphy fixture is doing. It's got the color. Well, I mean, there's no color wheel in the K10, so it's going to try and match that whatever color the Murphy fixture is doing with its LEDs, which it is. What I chose was white, so it's doing white. And then also the intensity is at 100. So that's a quick way to be like, okay, those fixtures there, good. I want these fixtures over here to do the exact same thing. Boom, at copy. Destination, at source. Now, a lot of times, people are going to forget to hit the fixture key again. So one more time, I say the Murphy fixture. Let's do a quick example. U at full. So I want to say fixture 2 at, and here's where people miss it, fixture 1. A lot of people will just say at 1, and that's basically telling it to be at 1% dimmer. That is exactly what it's telling it to do. You need to specify that it's going to be at fixture 1. There you go. And does that at copy all active parameters?
Copy applies to anything that's not at default.
Okay. So it could be program, could be...
Yeah. If you have a queue playing back and those values are not at default, at copy applies in that case as well. Another good question, since you're working in the programmer right now. Terminologies differ depending on which products you use. So this guy's person's asking, can I sneak or knock out a single fixture or single attribute from the programmer? And of course, but how? We do it with our program time function. So either off that attribute, off that fixture, or naturally turn it on.
Right. So program time is going to assign timing to anything that's happening in the program. That's active values, that's program values, anything that's happening in the program. So right now I have the K10 and the Murphy fixture at 100. Let's say I want to sneak those out in a 3-second fade. So I'm going to set my program time to 3 seconds, the fader, and then I'm going to enable it. So that's by tapping on the set time button. You'll get a little red box that says, hey, program time is on right now. It's going to fade anything that's going in and out of the programmer in 3 seconds. So now if I say at 0, please, that value is going to fade out in 3 seconds. And then I can disable program time. And now I've snuck out that dimmer, just like that. So program time, great option. Same thing with exec time, but that's for applying an overall timing for all of your executors.
This question is related to multi-instances in the layout view. Can you just show storing those instances to the layout view?
Oh, sure.
And having them, show you the actual color that they're dialed into?
Mm-hmm. So we'll make a layout pool and a layout view, and we will select a new layout pool. We'll store the K10, so that's fixture 2. Please store here. Select that. Now we got our all of our LEDs plus the main module. Now if I use the internal library profile, which I'm going to swap to real quick and redo this, I can show you how to use the arrange camera tool to arrange those LEDs in the BI face. So let me just do a quick fixture swap. in extended. I'm going to reassign this fixture. No, I could, well, I'll just start again. Right. Okay, so I'm going to go to setup, and then I should probably be doing this in here. So setup, the arrange tool here. You have several different tools. You can make a line out of them, which they already are. You can make a circle out of them, a rectangle with columns and rows. Camera is a really awesome one. So you can choose the camera in 3D to arrange those fixtures. So I'm going to do the top view because the LEDs are facing down. And then I'll click apply. So you'll notice a little yellow arrangement. This is kind of the preview of how they're going to look. You have to click apply to make that change happen. And I'll do zoom to fit. And now I have my BI with the LEDs arranged as the BI itself. Keep in mind I'm using the internal library that has these arranged. All right. So now if I bring them to full, we'll see that they're on. I'm probably going to need to edit this so that it visualizes as filled would work, right?
Yes.
Turn the dim bar off. Now if I change colors, I'll change that color. Now it's not really visualizing because the main module is kind of in the way.
Yeah. So the main module becomes 2.1, and curious, can you dial a related to this question? Can you dial a color in just on that 2.1, which I think is selected, and just go? I think.
Oh, it's red all.
Ah,
these aren't going
right.
to visualize.
Yeah, those aren't going to visualize. So the
I could swap these to RGB, and it'll probably visualize.
Yeah. So that's the one provided by the internal library.
Yeah.
So they chose red all, so not to conflict with all the instances when you're just selecting the whole fixture. But if you just change these to regular RGB attributes, then that main module instance 1 should visualize the color in the layout view, or it's going to be annoying right now. And because
idiots.
Bring the white to 0. I think your white LED's up.
Call.
Yeah. So that's how you can visualize that main module. And then with the little instances, I always struggle with this a little bit as well. They're so tiny.
Right.
If you turn markers off, so I think I'll show you. I think this is a layout view setting.
Is that editing? Oh.
If you go to the yellow ball, right there under marker. So the little marker is the little flag, the little red flag that shows up.
To say that's active or not.
Yeah. Because these are so tiny, I usually turn that little marker off, so then I'm just getting the actual color of the instances.
What's also helpful is after you put these in their arrangement, you can scale them up. Scale all. Let's do like 18. Apply. Zoom to fit. And then we can make these a lot bigger. Whoa. There we go. There's the main module. So that's a little easier to see.
Yeah. Layout view fun.
So much fun.
Lots of tinkering.
Hours. Oh yeah.
That's a nice effect you got there.
Pretty nice. How long did that take?
Just a little bit of time. Since you were just covering @copy earlier, this question came in. So what's the difference between copy and circle copy? These are actually copy and circle copy are yet other forms of copying data compared to @copy.
So let's do an example of that.
You have a perfect arrangement here to show off circle copy, actually.
I could circle copy from one instance to the next.
Yeah.
So if I started with this fixture, brought it to full, put it in a color. We'll do magenta. No, we'll do red. Feeling red. Okay, and now I want to circle copy this pixel to the next one. Two ways. I could go into Tools, and then tap on Circular Copy to the right. I'll go back, and I didn't select everybody, so that's what I ran into the first time I messed up, like tried circle copy. Is I was like, okay, I have this one fixture selected. I got the attributes where I want them. Why isn't circle copy working? You have to have the whole selection of what you want to circle copy to in order to circle copy. So the workflow would be, select that fixture, give it some attribute values, and then select everybody that you want to circle copy to. Now I'll go back to Tools, and now I'll do circle copy. And now it's gone to the next in my selection order, which is 2.4. You also notice it has activated that information for that fixture. So I can go in and store this as a queue. I don't know where that's about to store to, but it's going to that selected executor. Go to circle copy, go next, store that, please, it's next queue, so on and so forth. And then that could be a chaser, maybe. It's a quick way to make like a 3-color chase with a selection of fixtures, something that is harder to achieve with an effect. Also notice that when you are using circular copy, you have this filter. You might have other fixtures, like say a Sharpie, and it's got position information, color information, dimmer information, but you only want to circle copy the color. That's when you need to enable your filter. So any attribute that's highlighted is going to go through the filter and pass on to the next fixture. If I just want color, that means I need to deactivate everybody with this handy none button and then just activate color. And now you'll notice your at button is blinking, which means you have a filter on. You can also look at your message center and you'll see you have a little funnel symbol saying that you have a filter enabled. And now you're only going to circular copy the color information to the next fixture. That's pretty much it. Circle copy is an incredibly useful tool, very powerful, very simple at the same time. Did I miss anything?
I don't know if everybody caught what it's used for necessarily. I mean, I use it to build chasers because a chaser is multiple queues, and instead of having to do the @copy process like Spencer did earlier, circle copy is essentially a glorified kind of @copy process that steps the data through your current selection of fixtures. And using the tools menu, it copies fixture 1 to fixture 2 and fixture 2 to fixture 3, and when it gets to the last selected fixture, it copies that back to the beginning of your selection order. After each time you hit the circle copy button, you have to store the queue because the data has moved, right? And you hit the circle copy, store the queue, circle copy, store the queue. So to speed up that kind of process, Spencer put a couple macros there just so you don't have to go to the tools menu, and you see as he clicks it, it's moving the data, but it's not storing anything. So I'll usually build myself a macro that automatically does the circle copy and also stores to the executor. So then I just prepare my look, and I'm like, store, click, 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 until, all the queues are there, and then I change it to a chaser, and life is done.
Life is beautiful.
Yeah, very handy tool. I thought this was a funny one. I just tried to investigate this, Spencer. So if you jump into fixture profiles, this probably one will stump us a little bit. But this question is there a way to create a 2-channel fixture profile where both channels cannot output 255 at the same time? And I was like, I don't know, but I just want to point out one feature that might be useful that can help with this. If you just add a dimmer attribute, Spencer, and then anything else, like color attribute or something.
Generator, what the hell is
Yeah,
that?
we'll do generator.
Okay.
Generator.
Yeah.
If you scroll over to the right, there's this nice column called React to Dim. The one farther. Yeah, React to Dim. So my generator, I would set the React to Dim to inverse. So, what that means is that when the dimmer is at 0, the generator channel is at 255. It's inverted.
Right.
And as you start increasing your dimmer channel, your generator channel starts going down. And when the dimmer channel is at full, generator channel is at 0.
Let's take a look at that, because that sounds really exciting.
The one thing I noticed is that it's not guaranteed. I can still override that generator channel and make them both 255. But if I don't actually touch it, it's not a big deal.
So yeah, dimmer's at 0, but the generator is at 255. If I bring dimmer up, brings generator down. So that is, in fact, limiting the other attribute from being at 255. That's pretty cool. I wonder when I would use that.
Oh, guess what? I just found something better.
What?
I just said, there's a conundrum in that you can grab the generator channel,
right,
and you could still bring it to 100,
right,
which is not really safe. I'm not sure what the question is related to, but if you set the generator channel to a dummy channel, that means you have no access to it from your encoder,
sure.
But it's still set to invert. So dummy channels are just kind of placeholders, but they still take up a DMX value. So now that dummy channel exists. If you run your dimmer up and down, you'll notice that
it is in turn manipulating the dummy channel.
But you'll see there's nowhere to get to that dummy channel on your encoders. So hopefully, the person that asked that, hopefully that solves your conundrum. And if you're based in North America and you want to figure this out a little more, you're welcome to email us at support@aclighting.com. Remember, if you're outside of North America, contact your local distributor for support, or you can always email MA International. You want to talk about masks real quick? I think we did a webinar on this, I thought. Can you just show them the mask pool, what it does?
Sure. Masks allow you to manipulate what you see in a sheet. So, masks. So we have these are internal masks. You see the little lock, you can't manipulate these. You can create your own. You have, just like any other pool object, you're going to have a whole bunch of slots to save to. If I edit a mask, you can see a couple of different parameters that you get to choose. So the fixture mask is going to say, hey, show if, and then the rule is effect. Now if I click on that option, I get a whole bunch of different things I can specifically look at. You'll notice that when you open up a fixture sheet on a new show file, you already have two masks available to you, active only and program only. Right? So if I enable active only, it's cutting out all that other blah blah, I don't need to see that stuff out, and only showing me what is active. So that, if only I could edit it to show you what those parameters are, but I believe it would just be show if active, boom. And then also we want to apply that to the mask here, active. Right, so that's what that mask is doing, is it's only showing you what's active in the programmer. The way to assign more masks to your blue title bar is going to be in the yellow option ball, in layer mask, new, in mask local. And then you can load from your macro or your mask pool or save to. If you want to create that mask on the spot, you can do that here and then save it. And then in the title buttons, you have a whole bunch of enable mask, follow mask. If I wanted to add a mask, that's in set, right? And then I can load a mask here. And now that placeholder. These are just placeholders for whatever you want to put here, or are they just for masks?
Those are just for masks.
Just for masks.
Right. Just masks.
So now I have my mask mask that does the same thing as active only. It only shows you what's active in the program.
And we actually we did cover this in a previous webinar. I found it, the tracking webinar that's on our YouTube Tech Talks playlist at about the 30 or 31 minute mark. We essentially walked through the same thing Spencer just did. So maybe it answers some slightly different questions. Definitely worth to watch.
The tracking webinar?
Yeah, at about the 30-minute mark. Cool. There's a pretty long question here. I think I'm interpreting it to mean how can you store, if you have attributes that you've put under a different preset type. So maybe the attribute is like under beam, but you want to store that into a position pool. How do you do that?
So that would mean you need to turn off your preset filter, right? So if I go in my presets, I'll create let's say the examples of position, but the attribute is in beam. So I'm going to turn off this mask. As an example, we'll use the Murphy. The Murphy has actually a customized beam attribute suite. So we'll put that at 50. All right, and now I want to store this into the position preset pool. Well, we need to change our store options here. So I can hold down the store key, and it gives us a temporary store options window. And you'll notice that preset filter for me is currently turned on, which means I can only store preset type information to its preset pool. If I turn that off, that means I can store any preset type information into any preset pool. So I still have store in my command line, and now I can tap on a position pool, and you'll see that you get these little tick marks at the bottom. These tick marks correlate with your preset type number. So this first one is dimmer, second one is position, third one is gobo, fourth one is color. There's a little tick mark for beam. That means I have beam information in this position preset. So again, that's in your store options, turning on and off this preset filter. If I'm doing that often, I might turn it off and save as default, and then continue to store other preset type information in this preset pool.
Very good. All right, you guys have used up another wonderful 45 minutes. Today's Tech Talks, that concludes our fixture profile bonanza.
Thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys learned something or a few things. If you do have more questions after this webinar, please feel free to email us at support@actline.com, and we'll be able to answer your question that way. On that note, this concludes our fixture profile building bonanza. Thanks for joining us, you guys. Have a great day.
See you later.
Weekend.